Walk into any gas station and look around. There's a guy in his 50s filling up a 10-year-old Toyota Camry. 240,000 miles on the clock. He's in no rush. He's not even looking at his phone. Right next to him, a guy in his 30s pulls up in a brand new $90,000 luxury SUV. Shiny, loud, spotless. The kind of SUV that comes with massage seats and a payment that could feed an entire family. Here's what nobody tells you. The man in the old Camry is very often worth more than the man in the new SUV. Sometimes a lot more. I've been a mechanic and a used car guy for over 25 years, and I've met both kinds of people thousands of times. The ones who only buy cheap, used, reliable cars are not poor. They are not cheap. They're running a completely different playbook than the rest of America. And honestly, once you see it, you can't unsee it. The research backs it up too. Thomas Stanley spent decades studying American millionaires for his book, The Millionaire Next Door. He found the most popular car brands among self-made millionaires were Toyota, Honda, and Ford. Not Mercedes, not BMW. Most of them were driving cars that cost under 30 grand, and a lot of them bought them used. So today I'm taking you inside their heads. 6 beliefs they hold about cars and money that almost nobody else understands. These beliefs are why they end up tens of thousands of dollars ahead while everyone else is leasing rich and staying broke. And stick around to the very end because I'll give you 4 mindset shifts that turn cheap, used, reliable from a sacrifice into a power move. Number 1 flips the whole game on its head, and most people have never even heard it. Number 1, they buy the math, not the metal. The first thing in their heads is so simple it almost sounds boring. They run the math before they fall in love. Remember what we covered in the first video of this series? The average new car costs around 100 grand over 15 years once you add up depreciation, fuel, insurance, fees, and repairs. A wrong luxury pick can run you over 180,000. Same roads, same gas, same 15 years. The cheap, used, reliable buyer sees that gap before they ever sign anything. They know a Toyota Corolla can be owned for around 60,000 over 15 years. A big luxury SUV can cost 3 times that. I've had guys come into my shop, slap a stack of paperwork on the counter and say, "Just tell me, is this a good deal?" 9 times out of 10, they're staring at a monthly payment, not a total. The smart buyer never starts there. For them, a car isn't jewelry. It's a tool that bleeds money. They look at it the way a business owner looks at equipment. What does this thing actually cost me per mile? Once you ask that question, cheap and reliable stops looking cheap and starts looking smart. Number 2, they know what wealthy actually looks like. This is the one almost nobody on the road understands. The cars you think of as rich people's cars are mostly bought by people who are not rich at all. Thomas Stanley's research found the most popular brands among self-made millionaires were Toyota, Honda, and Ford. About 86% of luxury car buyers, on the other hand, are not millionaires. They're middle-class people stretching their budget to look wealthy. Completely different mindset. Experian has run similar research on high earners. People making over $250,000 a year are far more likely to drive a Honda or a Ford than a Porsche. The cheap, used, reliable buyer figured this out a long time ago. They know the shiny BMW in the driveway is usually a payment, not a possession. They know the guy who actually owns the building you work in is probably driving an old pickup with a dent in the door. I sold an old Toyota truck once to a guy who showed up in dusty boots. I assumed he was a contractor. Turns out he owned the contracting company, and 2 more like it. He just didn't see why he should pay 50 grand more for the same drive to the same job site. That's the part most people miss. So when others see an old Camry and think broke, this buyer sees the same Camry and thinks smart. Big difference. Number 3, they don't need a car to tell people who they are. This is the deepest one on the list, and most people will never admit it. Psychologists call it the difference between internal and external validation. Some people need the world to tell them they made it. They want the badge, the leather, the engine note because it confirms their status to strangers in traffic. Strangers, who they will never see again in their lives. Think about that for a second. The cheap, used, reliable buyer doesn't need any of that. Their identity isn't in the parking lot. It's in their bank account, their family, their work, and the freedom to walk away from any job they hate. A car is just how they get there. I've got a customer who could buy any car on my lot in cash tomorrow. He drives a 14-year-old Honda CR-V. I asked him once why. He said, "Because nobody at my kid's school treats me different for it, and that is exactly how I want it." That's the mindset. They're confident enough to not need a stranger's approval at a red light. And that quiet confidence is worth more than any badge. Number 4, they think in opportunity cost. Here's where the math gets really good. When these buyers see a $40,000 gap between a fancy car and a reliable one, they don't just see money saved, they see money working. That $40,000 invested instead of spent becomes serious money over time. Even at a modest average return, money invested over 15 years can roughly triple. So a single smart car decision in your 30s can mean an extra six-figure pile of money in your 50s. That's what they see when they walk past the luxury showroom. Not a nicer car I'm missing. They see a paid-off mortgage, a college fund, an early retirement. The cheap, used, reliable buyer isn't skipping a luxury car. They're buying their future with the same money. I've watched plenty of guys hand me a fat check for a luxury SUV and tell me they deserve it. Maybe they do, but I always think about what that money could have been doing for them by the time their kid hits college. The car commercial never shows that part. Funny how that works. Number 5, they refuse the upgrade trap. There's a name for the thing that happens to most car buyers. It's called the Diderot effect. The short version is this. One nice thing in your life makes everything around it feel cheap, so you start upgrading everything else to match. It's a real psychological pattern with a fancy French name, and it has quietly drained more middle-class bank accounts than any recession. You buy the new luxury SUV. Suddenly your driveway looks bad, then the house looks small, then your watch looks old. Your friends in their normal cars start to feel beneath you. One purchase quietly drags you into 10 more. The cheap, used, reliable buyer refuses to step on that treadmill at all. They keep the car modest on purpose because the second they upgrade, the rest of their lives will demand to be upgraded too. And every one of those upgrades comes with a payment. By staying off the upgrade ladder, they keep their costs flat while their income grows. That gap, year after year, is where their real wealth gets built. It doesn't look like winning, it looks like driving an old Honda. The dealership thinks they're losing a customer. They're actually losing prey. Number 6, they win the stress game. Some may find it surprising, but this might be the biggest payoff of all. And it's not even about money, it's about sleep. The average new car payment in America is now over $700 per month, according to Experian. For a luxury car or an expensive pickup, it can be well over $1,000. That payment shows up every single month. When you're sick, when work slows down, when the kid needs braces. The car doesn't care. The cheap, used, reliable buyer almost never has a car payment. They paid cash, or they paid the loan off years ago. And that one move changes their entire emotional life. No payment means no panic when work slows down. No fear of layoffs hitting the same week the bill is due. No quiet stress every time they walk past the car in the driveway. I've had customers in my shop nearly in tears over a transmission bill on a car they're still paying for. That's 2 payments at once on the same vehicle while they're driving a cheap rental. The used, reliable car buyer never lives through that scene. They drive old cars and they sleep like kings. The 4 mindset shifts. Now, as promised, here are the 4 mindset shifts that turn cheap, used, reliable from a sacrifice into a power move. Shift number 1, the one that flips the whole game. Stop asking, how much is the payment? And start asking, how much will this car cost me over 15 years? The monthly payment is the lie the industry sells. The 15-year total is the truth. Once you train your brain to see the big number first, you can never get tricked by a low monthly again. Every salesman in America just shed a quiet tear reading that. Shift number 2, treat your car like a tool, not a trophy. A tool is judged by what it does for you, not by what other people think of it. The day your car becomes transportation instead of identity, every choice gets easier and cheaper. Shift number 3, match the car to your future self, not your current ego. Picture yourself 15 years from now. Would the future you rather have the badge or the paid-off house and the early retirement? The honest answer to that question writes your car budget for you. Shift number 4, pay cash or pay it off in under 3 years. A car loan stretched over 6 or 7 years is a quiet trap. It pulls you into a permanent payment cycle and quietly steals decades of wealth. Pay it off fast, keep the car for 15 years, and let the savings compound for you instead of for the bank. Here's the bottom line. The people who only buy cheap, used, reliable cars are not missing out on life. They're quietly winning it. They run the math, they ignore the badge, they invest the difference, and sleep without a car payment hanging over their head. You don't have to drive an old Corolla to be one of them. You just have to think like them. Run the 15-year number, buy the tool, not the trophy, and let your money work for your future instead of for the dealership and bank owners. So tell me in the comments, what's the cheapest, most reliable car you've ever owned, and how long did you keep it? Was it the smartest car decision you ever made, or one you wish you could take back? I read every single one. And if you want to see exactly which door these smart buyers usually walk through and the full 15-year math on each one, go watch my previous video, New versus CPO versus Used, the real 15-year cost. The winner there will surprise you, and it just might change which door you walk through the next time you buy a car. If this video was useful, do me a favor and hit that like button. It only takes a second and helps more drivers find this channel before they make costly mistakes. For straight talk, no fluff, helpful videos, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I post new videos every week, and every single one is designed to save you money and make your life easier. And please share it, because the best thing you can do for a friend is make sure they see this before they need it.